Hey guys, be sure and check out the My Ambitions as a Writer blog where I, the Mrs. Morgan you know, Kate Morgan, shares my many opinions, stands with women everywhere, and stays rough and rugged addressing the mass public. Visit themorganyouknow.com/blog. Enjoy!
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows Podcast Network. You're in there with Jimmy and Hot Rod. Rod, how you doing today, bud?
Meh. I'm just meh. I'm just not going to lie. I'm just meh. I was hoping for a little bit more out of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia show, and I just am left with meh.
The WWE held their Elimination Chamber pay-per-view at noon on a Saturday, which was kind of cool. Got to watch a little bit of that later in the afternoon because, you know, we have families and things like that. So,
or some of us who have to work on Saturdays, unfortunately, ended up parsing it out over 2 days, a little bit Saturday evening, more Sunday afternoon. That's how I experienced it.
So, yeah, I'd say overall, I agree with you. It was kind of a meh pay-per-view. Wasn't the worst for sure. Wasn't the best. I think last Crown Jewel was the best. But let's kind of get into the pay-per-view itself, and then also some of the things that we are looking forward to for WrestleMania, because it looks like we have a direction for sure.
Let's hope. Do we have an awful lot that we're looking forward to WrestleMania, Jim? I mean, let's not tease something we can't pay off. I don't have a great answer right now for what I'm incredibly looking forward to, and I imagine you feel similar.
We have matches that we think are going to happen. How about that?
There we go.
That. So we have, first of all, the pre-show, because 8 matches is apparently too much for 3 hours. We had The Miz and Rey Mysterio going back and forth. Dominic got involved a little bit as well, but eventually Rey Mysterio beat The Miz, and then The Miz said that he has a tag team partner, a terrific athlete, coming in. Rod, who's this terrific athlete going to be?
Well, it's Gable Stevenson, right?
No.
Who's it going to be? That's my answer. Gable Stevenson. That's my answer. We haven't seen much out of that guy. I mean, he's
since he got drafted, you know, on Raw.
Right. That's what I mean. And you know, he won an Olympic gold medal. You know, I mean, he's about the epitome of an athlete, I would think. But of course, it's probably not going to be him because that's too obvious. So, what's your answer?
Jake Paul.
Good Lord.
That's who it's going to be.
That's such a bummer. I'd rather see Gable Stevenson.
Or is it Logan Paul? Which one's the more...
I'm not sure. I think they both fight, don't they? I think both of them are fighting at this point.
I think it's actually Jake Paul. Or Logan Paul. Yes, Logan Paul.
It's one of the Pauls.
One of the Paul brothers. I don't really care. I think it's stupid either way. So...
But you're also not a huge Miz guy, and I must admit that the Miz is running a little thin with me. I used to be the number one Miz defender out there.
Yes, no question.
I had beef with the member of the Jim Riska family one time for the way that they spoke about the Miz on this very podcast.
That's funny, but yeah, listen, it's old, yeah, and it's Logan Paul. So,
then that means he's going to be involved in WrestleMania. Then they're looking to juice tickets and get him involved with WrestleMania again. I would think, right?
Yeah, it's Logan Paul and the Miz against probably the Mysterios. So there you go. That'll be something.
Hey, again, as you said, we were going to tell the people the matches that we might be seeing at the stupendous 2-night WrestleMania.
I did love how Michael Cole's like, listen, I can't do what Pat McAfee does, but it's going to be stupendous, okay?
Yeah.
Then, of course, we had the opener of the show.
I love that you mentioned Cole real quick because this is the best place to bring him up. I thought Cole was on a heater, actually. I feel like Cole did like an exceptional job in that pay-per-view. Like, I just noticed a bunch of Michael Cole spots where I was like, man, this dude is incredibly good at being a wrestling play-by-play man.
Cole is good as what he does. He really is, and he was probably up for 3 or 4 straight days because of the time difference and everything. So yeah, he was going for it for sure. But Roman Reigns and Goldberg started off the match. It was about a 5-minute match. Kick wham, Goldberg passes out. How'd you like this opener, bud?
Listen, just everybody knows how we feel about this. I mean, we got 5 minutes. We got Goldberg did 2 spears. Fine, whatever. We do not ever need to see Goldberg in a wrestling match ever again. WWE, listen, the fans don't want it. I don't know. I still can't figure out for the life of me if the Goldberg chants are actually people doing the chants or if they're meaning it, sarcastically. I have no idea. It doesn't matter. I don't care what the people of Saudi Arabia will give you money for. Don't put Goldberg in a wrestling match ever again. Period. End of story. It's over for the Hall of Famer. That was pathetic. You did a disservice, in my opinion, to your champion, tribal chief, head of the table, Roman Reigns, by putting him in a match that was that bad to start off a pay-per-view that just left a horrible taste in everybody's mouth, and you then wanted him to stick around for another 2.5 hours.
And just remember, this was going to be the main event in WrestleMania last year with Roman Reigns and Goldberg, but then, Roman got COVID and that couldn't happen. So, yeah, it was exactly what every single Goldberg match is. They start off, they get thrown out to the outside. There's a couple barricade shots here and there. They start their finishers. There's a reversal, and Goldberg loses. Again, you've taken Goldberg, and he's got a pretty bad, it's not a losing streak. He's won 1 or 2 in there, but he's lost a lot of big, high-profile matches, and this is, I believe, the last match on his contract. So you might not see another one from him again.
And I'd be fine with that. He can just continue to be the WWE Hall of Famer.
Let's move on to the Elimination Chamber with Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Doudrop, Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH, and Alexa Bliss. I thought this was okay overall, but definitely the right person won. I'm very happy they went with Bianca. I think Bianca-Becky is the match you want at WrestleMania. Obviously, I picked Alexa to win that one. You picked Liv. But I really do think the Bianca's the right one to win here.
Well, I actually want to start here because I felt like the outfits that the women were wrestling in around this time, I think they were a little closer to the mark. I think they were a lot more. They didn't look like pajamas. They didn't look really, really weird or out of place. I mean, you knew, like Charlotte Flair and people who normally are showing a heck of a lot more skin, you clearly knew they weren't. But I still felt like they all worked really, really well, and especially Alexa Bliss. Like she looked like that would be like her normal ring wear, basically. So I thought that Lita also, was in her normal ring wear. So I think that just as an aesthetics thing for the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view was different than before.
Yeah, I agree. I really do like that. And like you said, you could see some of the wrestlers actually using that as a random ring attire for a SmackDown or Raw. And again, I thought the match was fine. I mean, there was nothing huge in either really of the Elimination Chamber matches. There might have been one big spot in the last one, but Bianca getting the win I think is great. And now we got a rematch that we've always wanted. So that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and I kind of liked seeing Nikki ASH get dispatched up quickly by Rhea Ripley there. I enjoyed seeing that. I continue to yearn for something more for Rhea Ripley than where they have her at now, because I think as she grows, as well as Bianca Belair, because let's be honest here, I was talking with a listener, my guy Mark Allen, and he feels like Bianca's moves are a little too telegraphed at times, and I definitely can't disagree with him, but I think, she's going to work that off, and she's got absolute great potential, so why not have her work with somebody like Becky Lynch? So I'm all for it.
Yeah, and it would be a great win for her at WrestleMania again. Maybe that's what she does. She just wins championships at WrestleManias. Then we have Ronda Rousey and Naomi versus Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville, and I was shocked. Well, first of all, Ronda Rousey came out in the gi that she won the Olympic medal in, which was whatever. That's fine. But Sonya Deville wasn't really hurt, dude. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that was the biggest surprise to anybody during that pay-per-view. I'm sure nobody could have saw that one coming. I guess we're getting what Sonya Deville, Naomi's going to be, a complete grudge match at WrestleMania. That's something we're supposed to care about. Is that why this keeps happening?
I guess. I mean, they had their match, but I guess it's going to keep going, and then maybe they will just have the pre-show match on day 2 or whatever and just end it there. But Rousey and Naomi won. I was not into this match at all. I really didn't care very much.
What I will say, though, is I was interested in the I really did dig the scene where Adam Pearce came out a little while back and he read that text that he got from the higher ups to Sonya Deville right out in front of everybody and just put her on Blast Street there. And I love the idea of hey, as I talk about all the time, Adam Pearce, I kind of like the guy, but he's so feckless, right? All that ever happens is somebody comes into the office and is hey, give me this match, and Adam Pearce is seems like a good idea, let's make it happen. And then here he's completely proving, I have no sway in this. I can't stop you from doing any of these underhanded things you've done. But hey, this email that comes from upper management, you better listen.
That's funny. And then So Rod, I've said this many times where I will not really talk down on wrestlers themselves. If they have a bad gimmick, I'll talk down that. But, obviously have a lot of respect for all these athletes. And Madcap Moss, I don't care what gimmick they give him anymore. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. Drew McIntyre, as everyone who's listening to this has probably seen, gave him his reverse Alabama slam. And there's one thing, Rod, for that move and also the Styles Clash you never, ever do is you never tuck your chin. You always want to have your chin up and out. Usually in wrestling moves, you want to tuck your chin in. Madcap tucked his chin in and landed right on top of his head. And they showed the replay, Rod, like 4 times before they even know the guy was still alive.
Yeah, it was. I did not understand that at all. I was like, man, how did that get botched? Is that McIntyre's fault? Is that Madcap's fault? But then when they showed the replay, I was thinking to myself, what in the world are we doing? Was this supposed to happen? How can you take a hit like that and continue? Because he had a couple other bad spots even after that.
Well, yeah, and that was so crazy because Corbin got him out of the ring and said, hey, he's hurt, run after me. And Drew ran after him. And then out of nowhere, Madcap Moss just comes back, oh, I'm fine. Everything's good. Hopefully he's okay. The doctors, they said that the doctors checked him out and everything was fine, but you never really know until the next day or the day after with a neck injury there. So really happy he's okay. McIntyre got the win in a pretty decent match actually overall, and we're going to definitely have that McIntyre and Corbin match at Mania.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. I've always kind of been a Corbin guy. My earliest days on this podcast, I shouted him out as a guy that I thought we could see something out of, and then they gave him the jackpot win at SummerSlam, and he's been undefeated since then. But he's a real power kind of guy, so I like the idea of him and Drew McIntyre up against one another because I dig the Scottish Warrior. I've come a long way on him and Bobby Lashley, both guys who were on Raw when I first came back to wrestling that kind of got on my nerves a little bit. I've come around on both of them because McIntyre is he's the only guy you got who can be like a hero babyface and it doesn't seem cheesy, and I'm all about it.
Yeah, and he's done a great job, and I'm really glad you finally came to the right decision on that. Liking him. Let's go to the Raw Women's Championship. We've heard that this is Lita's first singles match in 16 years, Lita and Becky. You could tell it was a little slow in parts here and there. Took a little time to develop, but honestly, overall, I thought this was a very solid outing by both of them. I thought the ending was a little weird. I love Lita doing both of her finishing moves and getting a real, the real close, after the moonsault, real close 2.5 count there. But then Becky just standing up and ending it kind of showed that they were running low on time and they had to go to the finish. So that was a little weird, but overall, really good outing by both.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see how well Lita worked. Definitely slow, you know what I mean? But as we said before, Lita's 46, I believe we said she was when she
Correct,
was
yeah,
when
about
she was
46, and hasn't been wrestling too. That's the kicker.
Yeah, but she was really believable, like I even kind of bought for a second. They're like, oh my goodness, could they give it to Lita here real quick as kind of a goodbye, farewell, thanks everything that you did. But then she sort of got that with her last goodbye moment there when she got to climb to the top of the ring and get all those fan supports. And as we talk about sometimes in wrestling, you don't get that chance too often to kind of like go out on a high note like that. Quite often your career just kind of ends and you don't get that moment. So for her to be able to come back 16 years later and get more love and respect, I'm sure that meant a lot to her.
Exactly, and I thought that was a cool ending for her. You know what's awesome, Rod? Flying halfway across the world to walk to the ring and get a couple of kicks and be hurt and you can't wrestle anymore. That's what happened in the Usos Viking Raiders. Really weird. It was a beatdown, but it really wasn't a beatdown, so I'm wondering if they couldn't use like weapons and things like that. Although, yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's you know what it is. I harken back to what I said on our last podcast, where I thought that it was a bit unbelievable that the Usos could do anything to the Viking Raiders that would like make them writhe in pain by just their fists, right? I mean, the Viking Raiders outweigh them; they're bigger than them. And when they jumped them during that interview on SmackDown there 2 weeks back, they were just giving them forearm clubs and stuff. And I said on the podcast, I'm like, I don't believe that. And so now here again, they're so completely hurt from just a few forearm shivers you gave them. You're then able to superplex the one guy up onto the other guy, which, by the way, those horns, we could have seen somebody get punctured in the lung with those horns the way that throw went down.
It's dangerous.
Most definitely, but I thought that was completely bogus. I mean, to do that to the Viking Raiders, which is something that I know everybody complains about. I dig the Viking Raiders. They seem like good wrestlers, but they're not going to McMahon's WWE.
So they're the War Raiders. Originally, that's their name, but they couldn't use the word war, apparently, for WWE. So they changed it to the Viking Experience. They actually came out as the Viking Experience, Rod.
I think this is Jimi Hendrix or something.
And everyone destroyed it. So then they were the Viking Raiders. So whatever.
But I dig them. They can move for big guys.
Yeah, they're good. They're really good. They have never been used correctly.
They got cool combo moves. Like, that's what I mean. I'd love to see these guys involved in the tag team belt fight at WrestleMania, than some of these other tag teams that we've seen so much of are getting trumped up, right? Like, I don't want to see Los Lotharios fighting for a belt at WrestleMania, but I'm sure I'm going to.
Oh, who knows? Los Lotharios getting a shout out here. I like that. We have WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. Lashley, Lesnar.
We got to spend some time on this because there's so much about this match that is just interesting. And you know what I want to do? I want to start with you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Lashley, Lesnar, Rollins, Riddle, Theory, and Styles. And let's go with you're chomping at the bit here. What do you want to start with, Rod?
Why does Bobby Lashley have to get hurt in that way? All right, as somebody who's a little more experienced with the wrestling game than I am, why in the world can't it just be, hey, Bobby Lashley hurt his shoulder in the Brock Lesnar match? Why do we have to then trump up this story about he got a concussion protocol? I just don't understand why the WWE feels they need to tell the story that way. Maybe you can enlighten me.
So they don't like to... Okay, last year when Roman Reigns was out of WrestleMania, they waited until, I think, the Monday of WrestleMania week to make that announcement. But they knew weeks beforehand that he was not going to be in. They don't... It says card subject to change, and they live by that. So they don't want to change anything. Because changing Bobby Lashley, they would have had to put somebody else in there, Rod. And you can't do that. The plan is Bobby Lashley's in there. So let's come up with this really kind of odd, never seen before in a match where it makes Bobby Lashley look bad, where if they would have just said, hey, Brock Lesnar gave him a lot of German suplexes on his shoulder and he effed up his shoulder, so he's out. That would have been fine. And hey, I don't know, maybe have a couple of matches where someone wrestles to get into the chamber. Who knows? But yeah, they don't like to tell people what's actually going on, Rod. That's the rationale. That's the reasoning.
And I mean, I suppose I get that because you need to have Bobby Lashley in that match because you clearly want to put the belt on Lesnar, which we both called a while back that we were going to be getting belt versus belt at WrestleMania, and they thought that would be a big deal. And I don't know if anybody actually thinks that's a big deal, but we'll get there. I don't understand. I think, yeah, I'm with you. Bobby Lashley looks so bad with this deal because you said the spot was kind of awkward, right? Like Austin Theory sort of gets thrown through it, but then later we see Lesnar just is able to like punch through it. So I mean, it was just it ended up being a weird spot. And then Austin Theory is laying there, right, riling like right by them as like four guys are attending to Bobby Lashley, but then they're also fighting on top of the chamber. Bobby Lashley is in at one point. I mean, it was just a complete weird spot.
They were very concerned about Bobby Lashley's health and well-being, Rod.
Yeah, I mean, then they walk him out, and you don't know if he's coming back in the match or not. Then his chamber opens, of course, because who could have seen that coming? And then that's when Lesnar's like, "Screw this, I'm busting out." And I don't know, it was a weird spot. I didn't like what it did to Bobby Lashley, who I've become a huge fan of recently because he's so good. The Almighty character is great, and he's so good in the ring.
Yeah, you really wanted that Brock Lesnar Bobby Lashley clash at the very end. Yeah, you did.
Because it would have served as the rematch, which we all wanted to see anyway, right? Because look back on the clips that they showed in that endless highlight packages that you talk about all the time, even though a highlight package probably ended up being the best spot of the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view when they did the Undertaker thing. I was enthralled with that, but we can get there after we talk about this match.
There was about an hour and a half of actual wrestling on the show, of the 3-hour show. So,
but anyway, you saw how fired up the crowd was during that Lesnar when he came down in his trunks and said, "All right, Bobby, let's go." Right? Like, I mean, the place was at a fever pitch, So everybody clearly still wanted to see those guys go after it. So I guess Bobby Lashley's hurt and they can't. But man, it just made Bobby look so bad that you gave him back the belt in a way that only was that Roman Reigns threw the belt in, double cross, all that stuff's the only reason Bobby Lashley had the belt. And then he goes out with concussion and loses the belt, and we're not going to see him now for 4 months. Such a bad spot for Bob.
Yeah, that stinks. And then also, I don't know how I feel about this, Rod. I really don't. I'm going back and forth. I could take either side on this, but having Lesnar run through everybody like he did does build up the main event of WrestleMania. Correct. But he and Reigns are the only two stars you have. This made Rollins, Riddle, and Styles look bad.
Yeah.
Theory looked bad, but he was there at the end, and he took the big F5 off the top. So
I'm just going to push back completely
give you
on
a
Theory.
pass.
I think it's a good thing for Theory, honestly. Like
Yeah.
what I called out for that could work for him on the podcast last week. I'm breaking my arm here, Jim, patting myself on the back so much during this podcast. But I am Hot Rod, I mean, sometimes I got to play to the character. But I love it for him. He's around. He takes he's playing heel perfect, running away from Brock Lesnar. Like you said, he takes a big spot. Although he seemed to almost land on his feet, so I don't know how big of a spot that was with the F5 from off of there.
Well, hey, listen, you're supposed to land kind of, on your chest there, but I'm not doing that on steel. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, of course not.
He's a smart man.
And I can't blame him there. But I like finally one of the last times that they showed the replay, somebody finally told him, hey, guys, let's cut it a little bit. So it only looks so people just can assume that he landed the way he's supposed to, even though he didn't. But I still think it's a great spot for Theory because having him involved with those guys is great for him. But as you said, it's a serious tough beat for my guy Rollins, who just completely got worn out by Lesnar the minute he ran into the ring. And Riddle basically, as we said, just exists to get worn out by dudes. And also, what are we doing with Riddle where the only thing he can do that brings about cheers from the audience is completely copy Randy Orton's gig? That's not great for Riddle either moving forward. So bad stuff all around for Rollins, Styles, and Riddle.
Well, it's long-term storytelling, and the WWE can't do it, Rod, and that's fine. But overall, yeah, I'd say a meh pay-per-view. But we do have a pretty decent look at WrestleMania moving forward, okay?
Wait a minute. Let's talk Undertaker.
That's
Let's
the
talk
first thing I was going to talk about. Hall of Fame.
Bingo.
Undertaker, it's in Texas. It's going to be huge. It's during a SmackDown, so you're going to have 20,000 people in the arena. It will be, first of all, it's going to be extremely long. I guarantee you that. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be, who else do you even have go in with Taker? Maybe there's only one or two other people because he is that special. And really, I think this is the perfect time to do it for him.
Oh, and that montage that they played was just, I mean, it was incredible. I was just, that was a great encapsulation of the Taker's career, right? So, like, that's one of those things that you could send to somebody who's not huge into wrestling and just be like, listen here, this is why this guy's a big deal, right? Like, you maybe have heard of Hulk Hogan and a few other people who are a little more charismatic on camera, but this guy is actually one of the greatest wrestling has ever seen. And it was such a great montage and such a great affirmation of everything The Undertaker is by all of the different superstars and the glowing words that they say about him. Now, again, skeptic in me could say they know they're on camera, they're possibly being forced to say that, but it all seems very genuine.
Well, you have to give credit to him. I mean, even if he's, if he's a jerk backstage or whatever, he makes fun of people for playing video games instead of going out drinking. But he did it. I mean, he came in with a gimmick that could have gone south very quickly. He made it what it was, and he adapted over time, and he was allowed to adapt over time. I think was also a good thing there.
See, there you go. I
career.
love that you said that. Let's stay with that for a second. I love that you said that. I think in our new Twitter, and we get so much information on wrestling, and there's so many podcasts out there, and we're adding to that, and there's so much information, and as we say all the time, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. I think a lot of what that does is it's made us impatient. We forget that when we say the WWE can't tell long-term stories, and they can't, but there's still the opportunity for a guy to switch and evolve if all we're making sure to do is keep him involved in wrestling. And even if the spots aren't the greatest, if there's still some spots out there, a guy gets an opportunity to change, hopefully. And I just think The Undertaker showed us that a little bit.
And he did. So that's definitely going to be a huge part of WrestleMania weekend. We do kind of have a card building here, Rod.
What would you say they're gonna? What's Friday night's main event? Do you think is that going to be the women's match? One of the women's matches, I suppose.
I would think Charlotte and Ronda is going to be it's Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, Saturday, Sunday. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think Charlotte and Ronda is going to be your Saturday night's main event, if you will. With then Becky and Bianca being the first match on Sunday.
Okay.
They could do the first match on Saturday too, but I think they'll want to split that up. And then Reigns and Lesnar's got to go on last, I would think.
For sure. What kind of match do we think we're looking for there, really? Do we think Brock can put on a big match? Tell me a little bit. You're more familiar with Lesnar's career. I've seen Reigns fight a bunch of great matches recently, but you're more familiar with Lesnar's career.
I think yes, they'll be fine. They've wrestled before. They've had good matches before. Lesnar has good matches, usually with smaller guys though, like a Styles or a Balor. Like he'll have a solid match with Reigns. It'll go 11, 12 minutes, so a little longer than some of his usual matches. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a hard hitting match.
So then there'll be another match on Saturday night then that may steal the thunder and get a longer spot then, huh? If you're saying it's only going to be about a 12-minute match, we're certainly going to have a match that's 20 to 25 minutes somewhere in there, are we not?
Somewhere, and that's what I'm not seeing right now, because the other match that we haven't talked about is the rumored Kevin Owens against Steve Austin.
Which can't be a long match.
Well, that throws a wrench into things, because how are you going to follow Kevin Owens and Steve Austin?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Unless it opens up one of the days.
That would be my thought. Let's just blow the roof off this place and bring that. You know what I mean? What about even opening Saturday afternoon match? Let's just, there's going to be so much speculation. They're going to try to keep it a secret. Let's just blow the lid off the place first out, right? Stone Cold opens the show the way people do WrestleMania sometimes, right? And then he says, oh, by the way, I'm not just going to do this thing with the microphone, and he's going to start strapping the knee braces on, and everybody's going to lose their minds.
We do have to remember, last time they were in Dallas, they had a huge issue with tickets and people getting in. And you saw in the pre-show where there was like nobody in the stadium, but they had to start wrestling. So that was really weird. I think they'll have that taken care of. They've had a few NFL seasons under their belt since then. But so those are like the four big matches. You got Logan Paul and The Miz and the Mysterios, which whatever. Corbin and Drew will be on there.
That'll be a pretty good match, though. I'm really kind of looking forward to that match secretly. That'll be one of those matches that nobody will be that hyped for, but will sneaky be a decent match, I think. Because people don't like Corbin, but that dude can work.
What you could do, too, is I was thinking with the Sonya and Naomi thing. Sonya and Naomi hair versus hair match.
Talk to me about Naomi, Jim. What should I feel about Naomi? I lean upon your expertise and your knowledge. I don't know where to come down on Naomi right now. I was totally impressed with her match with Charlotte Flair, but I'm predisposed to give all that credit to the Queen. Where should I be on Naomi, Jim?
Oh, very athletic, tremendous in-ring talent. She's improved a lot over the years. She's good. She really is. She's another one of those people that is just kind of stuck in the middle. Yeah. They're not going up. They're not going down. They are who they are. You do your moves. You win some. You lose some. 50-50.
I'd say that's weirdly the women's division overall, man. That's weirdly the women's division overall. There's a bunch of people that all seem to be on equal footing that we all think have some potential, but just don't be able to seem to get that push.
You're right. And it happens with everybody, Rod. I mean, the women's division, men's division, there's only a few stars that they have. Speaking of which, we've got a lot of people that aren't on this card yet. We have our Sasha Banks.
Let's do that. What do we think? Let's craft. What are we gonna do for the boss? Let's craft something for the boss. Can she get involved with Rhea Ripley? Can we have those two go at it?
Yeah, you got to be careful though, because I think they're going to have the Andre the Giant women's or the Andre the Giant men's battle royal and the Mae Young women's battle royal. Okay. So they may be in that. Rhea could win that.
Easily win that. Ripley's huge. You know what I mean? Like she'll look big in that ring with a bunch of those women, man. So she could definitely win that battle royal.
They like to have a lot of a lot of people on the same get on the card matches. So those will be a couple there. But we don't have Edge, we don't have Rollins, we don't have Styles, Orton and Riddle.
Rollins, that bums me out. We got to see. They're going to fight Alpha Academy again, right? I mean, are the belts going to be on Alpha Academy by the time we get to WrestleMania?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean,
it's going okay. I mean, it's going good, but
yeah, I like Chad Gable a lot. I do.
Yeah, they're good, and heck, they've earned it. Give them a WrestleMania shot.
I mean, they're a middle of Saturday type match at this point, unless something because we've seen RK Bro many times. But as you have always hinted to, are we going to start to see an RK Bro breakup perhaps? And that's another match we get at one of the WrestleMania days.
I think it's too late for that. I think they're going to continue to string this out, maybe even till SummerSlam. That could happen.
Is there anything left that would just completely surprise us? Is there anything left that would just completely surprise us that they could do on WrestleMania that would just blow people's minds, or like do here in a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden this match that we just didn't even expect could be there?
I mean, they could always go back to having a Money in the Bank or something like that, or a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship with Sami Zayn. Try to screw him over again, so have Zayn and Nakamura and four other people.
We didn't talk much about that. Your boy winning back the belt. How happy are you about that?
It doesn't it doesn't mean anything, and that sucks because I like the Intercontinental Championship overall. But it doesn't really mean anything. You know,
That's a bummer. It really is, because
Yeah.
basically, I think what happened is, it's over time that certainly happened to it. But I think also we used to make the joke about Shinsuke only existed to just make his entrance. But I think at some level that cheapened the belt a little bit, because you took it from Apollo Creed in a match that meant nothing to anybody, and then you had Shinsuke, who never fought anybody, and now Sami Zayn's got it back. So yeah, I'm with you. The Intercontinental belt is kind of like the 24/7 belt at this point, and that's sad.
Didn't Apollo Creed die in Rocky?
Apollo Crews? Excuse me.
Sorry.
I'm always doing that. Good for you though. Listen, call me out. Somebody's got to bust my balls every once in a while.
So then
Jim,
we
you know what I
got
mean?
to talk about the Cody situation too. Is Cody Rhodes coming, and is he going to be involved in WrestleMania?
Let's
you
have
would
him
think
fight
if
Edge.
he's coming.
Let's have him fight Edge, because that would be a baller match. You'd love that. Wrestling heads would go crazy for that, and we've been screaming for Edge to have a match that means
Or
something to
Rollins.
somebody.
I mean, think about that. But Rollins would be the. See, we'd have to figure that out, because Rollins, I think, would have to be the good guy, and he does not want to be the good guy right now.
I want to see Rollins get involved in the Lesnar Reigns fight, right? How are we going to tell? How are we going to further tell that
He
story?
already did
along?
that once.
I know, but again, why not? They do something that we're doing Lesnar Reigns again. Why not? How are they going to further that story along? That's what I'm saying. What story are we going to tell for the next 3 weeks? It can't just be these dudes continually talking shit to one another. There's got to be something else that happens.
Hey, Rod. It's going to be these two dudes talking shit to one another.
Oh, man. Even though I love babyface Lesnar at this point, and the crowd is in the palm of his hands right now.
Yeah, I there's going to be a lot. And by the time you hear this, either you'll be ready to watch Raw, or it'll be going, depending on when I can get this edited. But I think this week's going to tell us a lot. We're going to find out 3 or 4 more things that we don't know now. What's going to happen at Mania? There could be like a fatal 4-way tag team championship match on each night. You never know.
There's enough tag teams to support it at this point.
Oh, there definitely are, and they want to get all these. So Los Lotharios will be on WrestleMania just for you.
Listen, man, in Texas, Jim. It's probably a good idea to have Los Lotharios fight. All right, let's just leave that where it's at. But probably a good idea to have those boys go after it in Texas. Just like it's probably a good idea to have the Mysterios fighting.
It is. I'm kind of at a loss for words right now, Rod. I'm sorry. It's just it's there's a couple of really intriguing matches. Becky Bianca's intriguing. Charlotte Ronda.
I'm for it. I'm for it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I want to see what type of match
That highlight package where they showed some of Ronda's work, because as I've discussed before, there's a bit of a hole in my resume as far as Ronda's in-ring work. I was a little more impressed with that than I have been by her right here recently, and you've told me that's just a whole lot of rust and she's working that off, but she's actually good, and I could see it in that highlight package. So I'm excited as heck for that match, because I love Charlotte Flair. She can do no wrong in my eyes. There will be no Charlotte Flair slander on this podcast ever.
Owens Austin, I'm going to mark out for that for sure. I think that's going to be really cool if that actually does happen. And finally,
so is Kevin Owens just going to keep breaking bad on the state of Texas for weeks?
Yes,
I mean, is that what's gonna be
100%. Yeah.
Sign me up for that.
And then Reigns and Lesnar, it's going to be a good match. It'll be fun, but we've seen it so many times, you know.
Yeah, we definitely have, and that's why I just that's why maybe all of this, like you said, we're leaving ourselves the opening that things could change, but maybe all of it's going to be blown up by Cody Rhodes, man. Maybe that's where we're headed. Who knows?
Or maybe Cody Rhodes signs with Impact Wrestling and we don't even have to worry about it. So there you go.
Well, apparently there was some big deal in Impact Wrestling where some guy took off his mask and revealed himself, and I watched it on Twitter, and then I was like, oh, I don't know who this guy is, so it doesn't mean anything to me.
Oh, Rod, I love it. So that is going to do it for, I think, this week. We are going to have a couple of things coming up that I know you want to kind of do a little tease for, correct?
Yes, I'm putting Jimmy's feet to the fire here, because he is slow playing this, and I don't think he wants to do the little bit of homework that's going to be involved with getting the list that I know he wants to do, because Jimmy's not going to be able to do this half-assed. But I believe, as a celebration leading up to WrestleMania, we should come with our Mount Rushmore, all right? Our 4 guys, put some thought into it, explain it, talk about it on the podcast, and maybe, just maybe, our guy Gig Warner will join us and do his Mount Rushmore as well. I can't promise that, but Gig, I know you're a listener, and we'd love to have you. So I think we should do that, Jim, as a celebration up towards WrestleMania. Can you agree to the people that you will do this?
Oh, we'll definitely do our Mount Rushmore. It'd be interesting to see if it's changed at all over the years, and well, we'll see. There's a lot of people can go on there. You know, what are our prerequisites? What do we need to have? Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Exactly. I just think it's something fun to do as we hopefully try to gin up some excitement for the stupendous two-night WrestleMania.
Stupendous two-night WrestleMania. What do we have coming up on Balls and Brew?
That is a very good question. We will probably be talking about
baseball. Sorry.
No. But you know what? Maybe someday we'll broach the baseball topic. Maybe we'll have our guy Evan Altman on, who is definitely a Morgan Hall of Famer, and he can fill us in a little bit on baseball. Maybe that'll happen soon. We got the Masters around the corner, and we got college basketball, but we'll be NBA centric. We'll probably touch on the All-Star game and the NBA 75 anniversary. Me and Mr. King and maybe you, Mr. Jamriska. We've tried to have you on the last couple of Balls and Brew, and you've been otherwise engaged on Thursday nights.
It's a tough night. Every night's a tough night, as you very well know, with strong-willed children. Yes. But that'll do it for this week's Yeah We Know podcast. You're in the ring with Jimmy and Hot Rod.
Hey, we had Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia. They got paid a bunch of money for it. WrestleMania is around the corner. We're supposed to be excited for it, but we're not. That's the best we got for you right now. Hopefully things will get better.